meta meets verse, where gamers meet devs, where devs meet games. Your direct access to the future right here, right now. Where verse meets meta, where meta meets verse, where gamers meet devs, where devs meet games.
So apparently Wendy is unable to be heard. Can you hear me? I can hear you. And now I can't hear you. Now you suddenly, there we go. You're muted. So I'm going to repeat it. Apparently everybody can hear me but cannot hear Wendy. Is that correct? If so, then throw tomatoes at the screen. I don't know. We're going to let Wendy play around with settings and tickle toggle. I mean, worst case, we'll just have a very pretty side kick available for everybody to look at. But Wendy, you can shout out every now and again. Tomatoes are flying. Yeah, every now and again, and just like look pretty and mime to the things that I'm doing. I will talk a little about what we're going to be doing today, what we're talking about. Obviously, there's been a megaton of stuff that has happened since we all went to sleep before Christmas. We obviously got fat and then got thin again. So New Year's happened, and hello, yeah. Tell me if you can hear. But yeah, we did a whole load of cool things. Specifically, obviously, you've got the new AI agents to be playing with, which I hope you've been having lots of fun with, like we have. I'm going to be talking a little bit about a lot about the AI agents. I'm also going to be talking about the PC version, and then a few other things that we'll pick up on as we go. But before we go any further, I would like to remind everybody to turn off their quiet videos if you've got them turned on, because obviously that doesn't help. If you haven't got them turned on and don't want to hear me either, then turn on quiet videos. The let me see, the yeah, we've lost Wendy entirely as she crawls around on the floor plugging things in and out. Yeah, I think she's going to get dressed up in a onesie and then sit there looking like a tomato. That's my guess. Anyway, yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about AI agents. The first thing I'd like to mention is that we are obviously using them in a whole bunch of different places across Multiverse. So you will see them anywhere from Grand Central to the Developer Hall of Fame, through to Infiniverse, through to the planetarium, through to the exhibitions gallery, hey, through to the, hello, through to, what's it called? The various different locations like the Flip showroom, and then also in certain metaverses that are for users. So we've seen obviously a whole bunch of you put them together. I did it first in Star Chart and CityLet. I think Beck Bay and Fade came in first with the what's it called, The Hitchhiker's Guide and The Pub, and then a few other people, actually quite a few, came in with it in various locations, from Chrysandra's to Tektronics and Doc Massey's, and the list goes on and on and on. So you will be pulling out paper clips and you will be triggering them all over the place. And you will probably notice that we've both got different types of AI agents, as well as different types of responses they come back with. I set up a couple in, for example, the Global Fuse and the Don and Joe show that was showing you how it could be used for comedy. We have others that in the Gamer Sounds layer, which just talk fun, nonsense, scheming plots. We have people like you guys that have been creating some awesome ones, but they actually sell the product that's in the room or talk about the product that's in the room. So for CityLet and Star Chart, those are explicitly very, not dull and boring, but normal. You know, they're AI agents that just it's difficult talking with her faffing about over there. The AI agents that just sell the specifics of the metaverse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we did that, the sort of pathways that we went through for that, and I'm even going to do a little bit of a hype for, I believe, Fade's tutorial, which is out there soon after this devcast. Fade will give me some information on that, I think, on Discord, and I will let you guys know where you can go to see that. The key thing that we want to talk about is there's obviously a couple of choices if you've set up a business or enterprise metaverse that you've got for your agents. The first is the type of agent you choose. We've unlocked over 20 different agents, and we will be unlocking more. The different types of agents have different types of personalities, and they have different use cases or styles of use. So the ones that are the simplest and the easiest to use, I would say, are the MD helper ones.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear
like
now?
Ariel, a little mermaid. I think my voice has come back.
I think you can hear her. Give me a shout if you can hear her. Yay!
Yes!
We hear you. Yeah.
Now him, shut the fuck up. Listen to me. Actually, no, he knows far more than me about today's topic. So go on, as you were.
As I was. Okay, so yeah, what you do is you choose a single or multiple agents. And if we look at the helper ones, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I set it up for the Infiniverse. And I think I might actually share a screen if Wendy lets me.
Oh.
Which would be
You've got to
quite
send me
cool.
these things in advance so I can set it up.
Yeah, well, it's not fun if it's not impromptu.
It breaks the whole thing, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to load up a web page and I'm going to share that with you guys so that you have.
Well, while I was doing that, I actually wasn't listening to what he was saying just now because I was desperately trying to work out why my microphone was broken. So apologies if I repeat anything at all and while he finds what screen to share. Yeah, they're all over the place and we've started advertising where they are as well. So look out for the Paperclip icon that's on the screen now. When you see that on a door, on a banner, on an image, then there are agents at work in that room. Go through and see what they have to say and see who they are and what they're nabbering on about. And yes, I know if you look closely at it, it clearly is not a paperclip. I know Sam's eyes twitchy going, it's an AI paperclip. It's an AI paperclip. It's got it wrong. I know it's got it wrong. Oh, okay. We've got some screen sharing going on here. So how is this working? Okay, let me take off that icon so you can see what's going on. But yeah, look out for that icon all around the place. It's not, absence of an icon does not mean things aren't in that room, just that we haven't got round to updating those doors yet. But presence of the icon means they definitely are present. So that's throughout the entire of the planetarium, pretty much all of our own curated areas. So all of those doors off Grand Central, you'll see it, plus some amazing user space as well. So San, show us what you've got there on your screen.
So what you'll see is if you've been to multiverseonline.io, you'll recognize the back end of, or the front end of what you guys interact with for enabling and changing and setting up your metaverses. I've loaded up the location for Infiniverse, and I'm going to scroll down so that you can see it. What you'll notice is that we have custom AI agents enabled. So these custom AI agents have been turned on. Mostly, you will be set to inherit from the metaverse. I'll talk a little bit more about what these things do later. You can also disable them. So those things are simple mechanics that allow us to update how and what activities go on inside your metaverse or inside your location. I've now enabled 4 AI agents, 2 of which are set to always appear, and 2 of which are set to not always appear.
Scroll that screen up just a tad. It's been hidden by our overlays. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, there we go. So we've got Haley, who is set to always appear, Jennifer, who is set to always appear, and then Clyde and Olivia, who are set to randomly appear. We have a list of topics, which if I click into, we can scroll up and down. Yeah, we can scroll up and down through, shows you the sort of number of topics that we've got. And these are relatively simple, but also contain a lot of information. And then finally, we have the description, which you will be familiar with if you've written description for the discovery menu. So those are the 4 elements that are used in defining how an agent works. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what they do and how it is possible to set one up with very little whatsoever. Now, in a worst case, we would have no information in the description page, section. This would be blank. We would have no topics, and we would only have a single agent enabled. In that scenario, what will happen is that single agent will always appear, and that single agent will talk about some default topics that are set up by us in the back end.
Weather, what their kids did that weekend.
Which color socks Wendy likes wearing on Tuesdays.
You know, that
no,
kind
it
of
will
stuff.
do an introduction to
Their
the metaverse,
boils.
an introduction to the location, and it will invite the player to explore the exhibits of the doors, as well as like the location on the wristwatch, and then tell them to come back for more information or other things later. Now, that's the very basic setup. And if you do nothing else than simply enable an agent, the agent will repeatedly, with different scripts, talk through that section of information and provide information to the user. Now, the next layer is obviously adding a second AI agent, for example, Clyde. So you have Haley that is then set to always on and Clyde set to not always on. And in that scenario, it will choose randomly whether to include Clyde or not in the script that it generates. Once it's generated the script, it will play that out with those, and the next time around, it will also choose randomly whether to include Clyde or not. In this scenario, you'll see Haley and Jennifer always appear, so you've got a minimum of 2, and then you've got the 2 extras that can appear when we choose to. We've limited it to 5. That's already quite a lot, and most locations get a bit crowded when you've got 5 AI agents in there, so I don't think it's smart to enable more. In fact, we were a little bit pushing it to 5, but because we did that with Cliptron, we felt that it was sort of only fair to do that with.
I think we found that 3 is a pretty good number. You get a nice little conversation going. It's easy to follow and doesn't get too crowded.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend minimum 1, because obviously it's a bit boring without any. But setting 1 to always on is quite good for a metaverse, because that gives that metaverse a sense of personality. So you could say, well, in this metaverse, I know I'm always going to see Olivia, because Olivia is cool and fun and she represents the tone of my metaverse. And then having some optional ones is always good to create a little bit backwards and forwards. I personally like setting up 2 always on and having 1 or 2 extras that sometimes appear. Then the next thing is adding information to the description.
Can I just jump in there, Sam? Sorry, just because I know someone's going to comment on this if we don't. If you go back up to where you were just now, you'll see on Sam's screen, just above those above the agents, there is a line which says Dev View Next Conversation. You won't see that on your screens. Sam's accessing this via his Dev account. These are special features that we have enabled to us. So don't get confused if you can't see that or think, oh, I'd really like to know that conversation thing. Unfortunately, that's not going to be there for you. You'll have the selective agent behavior and then straight down to which agents you're going to pick from.
Yeah, it's a debugging system that also probably won't be around for us very long as we continue to develop the agents and enable new functionality. At the moment, it's there for us to be able to test things, because we've had some oddities where sometimes it tries to generate a script with agents that don't exist. But this is the glorious joy of working with fluffy AI, which is genius, but fluffy. So let me see. By the way, Wendy, it sounds like you're across the room from a microphone. We can hear you, but you need to eat the microphone fast.
Okay, I will move it closer.
There we go.
There we go. Let's give that a go. And let's see. Let's turn mine up a little bit as well.
The other thing that is going to be worth noting is that the AI agents at the moment are only the ones that we've enabled. Publicly, we have a whole bunch that we've got privately that we test around with and play with. So if I do add an AI agent, you'll see a list that is much bigger than the list that you've got. And that's going to be because most of those are just us testing very weird and odd things, trying to run through the sorts of things that we imagine you guys will do when we get to enable you being permitted to generate your own AI agents.
Yeah, and so it's one of the glorious things when you have exclusive places like all the exclusive metaverses. So we've got Sans Evil Lair, we've got the Global Fuse, all the exclusive places. They really deserve their own exclusive agents in there who are really tailored to fit the style of it. So this is something we're really working towards. Really want to promote this idea of this exclusive world where you get in there your exclusive agents, fully designed to do and behave as you want them to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to note that yes, we haven't enabled user-generated agents yet, but we do believe that is going to unlock an amazing amount of potential. But in this way, what it allows us to do is get you guys familiar with the concept of the AI agents, get you familiar with working with them, understand the basic principles of how the prompting works, the topics work, selecting agents, and then create your own crazy ones. You will note that we have, in corroboration with Fade and Beckbait, enabled 2 slightly custom ones that they asked for, pestered for in the background. They were helping us do some debugging and testing.
Pester us? That does not sound like them at all.
No, so we enabled Beck Savage and Deep Snark, who are 2 custom agents that give us a sense of what a user would do. We needed some very select people to just give us a sense of what might it be that people would write as personalities, so that we can see how that works if there are problems with those things. That's all part of what we're going to hopefully enable for everybody, allowing everybody to have an even more unique metaverse. I mean, the key thing that I think you will know is that from our point of view, this is very much all about UGC and about giving the tools and the power to you guys to create crazy bespoke locations.
And it's been a really steep learning curve so far. When we first, the first ones we made were a bit shite, really. But you learn very quickly what kind of prompt they respond to, what little kind of good features to give them to make them unique. Because obviously with limited voices that are available to us via this method, they can be a bit samey after a while, so it's quite difficult at first to think how to make these 2 characters actually sound different from each other in terms of what they're saying, how they say it, and the language they use. So this has been a lot of practice, a lot of implementation for us to work it out, so we can then, once we've got that bit, we're not, it doesn't mean we're keeping it all for ourselves, being miserly. Absolutely going to roll it out to you guys. This is something that it's we're going to give this baby wings and then let it fly. We can really see out there. And on that note, if you're not following what we're saying here, or if you want a bit of checkup, do head over to our tutorials website, which is multiverseupdates.com, and there you will find a full page tutorial all about how to use them, plus some handy downloads, which includes that paper icon which I showed before, plus also this overlay here, a poster saying AI agents in this room. So in case you want to use that, you can put it up in a poster somewhere in a room so people visiting will know to get out those paper clips, or just put that little icon in a little stylish place somewhere. So do head over there, multiverseupdates.com, where you'll find that plus many other useful tutorials.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to say about AI agents, but let me just go through the page and show you how it works again. The next thing I would recommend you do is not actually worry about the topics just yet, but instead move down to the description and ensure that your page has a good, solid description. The description is provided to the AI agents with every generation of script. So that is the information that they will get and know about your location. Make sure it has any key information. So for example, in the Infiniverse, we talk about being the interconnected hub shaping the future of the internet. That's one of the key things there. The description goes on, it's quite long, quite lengthy, and that information is there and therefore used by the AI agents in generating all of the topics that they talk about. So it gives a sense of the fact that there are drops, it gives a sense that there's places to go to, it tells all of the background of the story and the context of what the AI agent is talking about. So they get the metaverse context and the location context. So if this is a room inside a metaverse, let's imagine this is Wendy's workshop. So she's got the workshop metaverse, and then she's got the Wendy's workshop room. Both of those can have a description. Both of those will be passed on to the AI agents so that they have a context of what they're doing, where they are, and how that's relevant to them.
Yeah, and it is useful to check back both of them. We had several instances where we couldn't work out why the agents were suddenly spouting out a particular subject or kept mentioning certain things. We thought, it's not in there, we deleted everything. And it was inheriting from the parent. Yes. We hadn't sort of checked the whole hierarchy of if the information they'd been fed. So yes. All these areas do count, they do get used. It's not just, oh, they'll ignore that bit. They're AI. They don't know how to ignore that bit. They'll take it all. So do check
exactly. And the other thing that we've noted is there's a whole load of nuances on prompting and how the prompt engineering works. What we've worked out is if you tell them to say a thing, hey, this person likes to say cheese, then generally they'll end up saying cheese all the time. It won't say, if you give an example and say, it likes to say things like cheese, it won't say anything other than cheese. It will think that this is the first time it's doing the prompt, this is the first time it's doing it, so I'll use cheese, maybe next time I'll use a different word, but the first time it will use cheese. So you get a lot of repetition if you're too specific. Finding a way of being general while at the same time broad and in the area that you want it to be in is quite important. I've personally found that using words like surprising or unknown or uncommon allow it to choose more of a nuanced approach to whatever it talks about, rather than just spouting the general thing. Could be you want them to be repetitive and spout the general things, in which case great, but those are the sorts of things you'll be playing with and tweaking and tuning as you go, and that's hopefully what those people out there with the
also a general style language. So we've got, use social media language, use street language, use Shakespearean language, using it if you're giving it that kind of a character with a general umbrella sort of theme to it, it tends to run quite well with that, but not giving it examples of because it can already access those from its data banks anyway. So just give it the umbrella thing rather than specifics.
I think that's also really important to know. We are dealing with AI, and AI is pretty damn intelligent. So feeding it too much specific information actually limits it, whereas if you let it run, it sort of runs a bit more crazily, wildly, and coolly, and you give it a general tone or direction, and it will run with that very well. So yeah, description, extremely important. Please make sure that you fill that in. It's valuable both to the discovery menu, but also to the AI agents. And in future, search optimization, SEO. Again, you're going to get a bit freaked out with that word, but it's going to be coming at some point soon. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So think about it as AI agents are very much a precursor to search optimization. Okay, next thing we're going to be talking about is the topics. Now, the AI topics are not needed. There is a default baseline AI topic that they all have and they all use. What happens when you put in AI agent topics is you override the default ones with these ones. And it's important to understand, I think the most single important thing to understand is that each line is a separate topic. So when you press return, it generates a new line, and that is a new topic. So if you, we saw there was a mistake I think we did in the Chamber of Commerce, where Alison and I were working again on it very early on, and we had a headline, and we had the headline in there, and then we had some topics underneath, and the headline was interesting topics. So that's what their topic was, to talk about interesting topics. So we didn't understand why they were talking about
AI find interesting?
Things. Yeah, exactly. So the AI defines interesting as quantum physics and black holes.
I don't know, does it though? I mean, I don't know. If you ask Gupsy what you find interesting, test it out. Yeah, it's I have no interest, so I'm listening. Yeah, I'm wondering what would interest an AI.
We'll find out. Anyway, it's important to note that the topic should be very clearly aligned, and whatever is on that line, it can be multiple lines in the box here, but one line break or return character will create a new topic. So that's important to note. What you'll see here is if we run through one of them, I'll just select one and we can talk about it. So if we look at this, there's a lot of different things that this topic communicates. I'd like to run through them. First of all, it says welcome to the Infiniverse. It doesn't say welcome the user. It doesn't say welcome everyone. It doesn't say welcome somebody. It just says welcome to Infiniverse. And that's an important note, because otherwise it will try to generate an actor called user that doesn't exist, and it will throw them in there, and the script will be a bit wonky and weird. So it's important to learn the nuances of what does and doesn't work. Explain that the discovery menu is a powerful tool for finding exciting locations, events, and communities. There we go. We tell it what we're looking for, which is locations, events, and communities. An exciting tool. I don't tell them how to explain it. I don't tell them what to say. I leave that open to them to decide. Users can open the discovery menu by tapping the left-hand menu button. Again, it doesn't know how Multiverse works. It doesn't know what the buttons are or how to interact with things in the world. So I do have to tell it that information. From there, you can browse metaverses, featured events, and interesting landmarks to explore. Suggest using this menu to uncover hidden gems and meet others in the community. So that's what it does, and it will generate a script around that. But note, that information will not be available to the AI in any other script other than when it chooses that topic. So if that was really essential information, for example, to tell people to use the discovery menu by tapping the left-hand menu button, I would have to put that in the description, not in the topics. So the description, it covers the general knowledge it has. The topics is the specific topic of conversation.
Yeah. So think about it. It always uses the metaverse description. It always uses the room description, and then it picks a topic. So if you look at those three, then that is the combination you'll get. Also something to note in terms of what they do and don't know. They don't know where within a room they are. So you can't say, tell them about the pictures on, the pictures on the wall include a dog, a cat, and a monkey. They're not going to know that one's a dog, that one's the cat. They will talk very generically about it. They won't know they're standing by the door. They won't know they're in the middle of the room. So you can't ask them to give directions or on your left, on your right, because that will obviously very much change our orientation. They also don't know whether they've spoken to a user before. This came up as a question. It's a very valid one to think. So if they tell you once about something, one of the topics, if you go into that room again and it randomizes that same topic again for you, it will tell you again. It doesn't know it's already told you certain facts. It doesn't sort of keep a record of, okay, I've told this people these things, I won't tell them it again, they already know this stuff. You may get repeats from that side in different words, it'll be phrased differently, the conversations won't be identical, but the subjects may be, so we can't sort of store up a history in that way.
It also doesn't yet know about the people in the room. So you can't say welcome the users by name because it won't know who they are. It does know the owner of the metaverse, but it only knows that person in the context of that person created or owns the metaverse. So if Fade_Bloodlace created the Hitchhiker's Guide to Infiniverse, when you're in that metaverse, it might reference Fade_Bloodlace. It hasn't yet worked out how to convert that into Fade_Bloodlace, which is Fade. Again, more stuff that we are working on in the background.
But again, so if that's important to you, you can then put that in the description. This room was created by, and you can then have that as one of its permanent prompts.
Or and for example, I would say this room was created by Fade_Bloodlace, better known as Fade. And then it's more likely to choose Fade rather than Fade_Bloodlace. So those are the sorts of things that I would definitely work with. The agent topics are really not required. I mean, for example, in the Planetarium, we didn't put agent topics into all of the rooms. And all we did was put a good description in where possible. And sometimes not even a description. And it's still
in most cases not even a description. I've not got around to doing them all yet.
Yeah. So it gets them because it knows the name of the room. So this room is called Infiniverse Pre-Beta. Now, sadly, and specifically for Infiniverse, AI agents don't understand all caps. So it would actually see that as Infiniverse Pre-Beta or Beta or something stupid like that. So naming things with capitals and all caps, we're probably going to change. And as a result, you can probably expect Infiniverse Pre-Beta to change to be Infiniverse-Pre-Beta with lowercase. But that sort of thing is also important to note. It will. So, for example, in the planetarium, we have one room, which is the Phobos and Deimos room. I think I shared this on the in Discord. But Phobos and Deimos, it just knew the name. And because of that, and
the
then it was
moons
told
of
to
Mars,
give,
for those who don't know who Phobos and Deimos are.
the moons of Mars, exactly. We told it to give some interesting, uncommon information about the room's topic. And because it knew that the room was called Phobos and Deimos, it actually started generating really interesting and unknown facts about Phobos and Deimos, which even I didn't know. Absolutely brilliant. So the level of smarts that the AI has is not something you should underestimate. And in fact, you should probably start simple and work out where you need to go from there rather than think, oh, I'm going to fit it all of this information in, because actually you might find that that's worse than if you just left it blank. But I would definitely recommend, obviously, a good title. Check your title of the room. Make sure it's not just some silly thing. Make sure it looks and reads smart. Avoid all caps. And then in the description, I would suggest putting in the description because it will help, at least for the metaverse.
Yeah. And try it out, test it out, see what they say. You'll pretty soon get a feel for if something really doesn't work. And what does. Sorry if you covered this when I was having my microphone problems. Is this open to everyone at the moment?
Yes, so everybody with a business or enterprise level metaverse will have access to enable AI agents on their metaverse and or on the locations. And at this point, I want to go back and talk about the little button at the top here, which is the selection between custom AI agents, disabled, or inherit metaverse. So if I open this up and just look at it like that, you see that there's three options. If you've got a business and enterprise subscription, it will start with a default of inherit from metaverse, and the metaverse will probably be set to disable. So that means that there's no agents available at all. Now, previously, if you remember, the Cliptron agents appeared everywhere. That has now been disabled. The Cliptron agents can only appear in the Cliptron exclusive store. If you want to have access to them, go buy an apartment in the Cliptron building and you'll get access to the store. You can meet them and hear them in there. But from a point of view of how this works, now every metaverse has its own setup. And that means that the setup for Infiniverse is going to be different than for the planetarium, which is going to be different for the exhibitions. And at that level, we have set agents at the metaverse level, and then they generally, through the inherit from metaverse, get all of the stats and information of which agents to choose, which agents are always appearing, and what topics from the metaverse level. So if you don't want to, you can literally just set those things at the metaverse level, and all of the rooms underneath will be done in that manner. I did that for the Gamersan personal metaverse where all of my apartments are in. So in that one, I just said, introduce the player to the room, talk about the location and tell them this location is owned by Gamersan and they should definitely go and try and give an offer on it because it's an awesome location. And now in all of my apartments across all hundreds and hundreds of apartments that I have across Multiverse, agents will spawn and talk about that specific location because they inherit from the metaverse. Yeah. Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly?
Yes, I think so. So then once you've got that parent level set up, you can then think, oh, but hang on, I've got a storefront in that metaverse and I don't want it to be talking generally about apartments and crap. I wanted to say specific things to that store. So that is when this custom section comes in. So by default, any room within the metaverse will inherit from the parent metaverse, from that main landing page when you go into the metaverse home. If you want a different one in the location, simply go to that locations page, and on this screen that you can now see that Sam's sharing there, select custom AI agents. That then overrides the parent, and you can put what you want in. Or alternatively, if you have a space like a chill out zone where you think, I really don't want the agents in here, it's just going to completely spoil what's going on if people start flinging out their paperclips, set that to disabled. And again, that will override the parent, disabling them in that room. So if someone tries to put out a paperclip, tries to activate it, it'll just go clonk and it won't do anything. Their paperclip won't be wasted, won't get used up. but nothing will happen. So this is a way you can then start fine-tuning all the sort of more unique or specific areas within your metaverse. So we've definitely used this. So in our main multiverse metaverse, where we have a huge variety of the rooms, we've got the mazes, we've got the galleries, we've got Infiniverse itself. We don't clearly want everything to be the same in all of those. So we had the parent one, and then each of these small areas we've then filtered down to give custom ones in each of those spaces. Now, unfortunately, once you've got a custom one in, say, storefront A, you can't inherit storefront B from storefront A. There's no further chain of command. They all inherit exclusively from the parent. There's no kind of sibling inheritance going on. So unfortunately, there's no inbreeding. You have to copy and paste what's going on there. But we found it still gives you plenty of scope to fine tune things, and hopefully you'll be able to set it up exactly how you want.
And because we know that there's going to be complaints about it, I was very heavy-handed, and I asked the coders badge the coders to ensure that there was a reset across all if you've made a mistake and realized, for example, that you want to now do something different. So specifically for those of us with many, many, many apartments, it could be possible for us to go in and, for example, fine-tune each individual apartment. And at the end, we realize after we've done 3,000 apartments that we don't want all of those fine-tuned prompts and topics. We want to just have one main one. Then on the Metaverse page, you can clear black. I can't remember what the messaging is, but there is a message with a big red frame that says, get rid of that. And that will wipe all of the underlying locations that have got a separate
all
setting.
The overrides.
Yeah, all the overrides will be wiped out and it will be reset to inherit from the Metaverse. So that is something that is important to note, and obviously a first step in the right direction for allowing people to do things like, for example, customize all the apartments in one way or something like that. But we'll get to that later. That's not for this week or today. Yeah. But those are some of the most powerful tools that you'll get, and to be honest, has already completely changed Multiverse for me as a user when I go in, and it really gives me a lot of joy to use up Paperclips.
It's been really fun. I've been constantly surprised, and given especially that between Sam and I, we know most of these places back to front and inside out. Still hearing what they say to us when you go in there, it's brilliant. It's interesting. It does give a whole new take on things. So do wander around, check out the rooms, go to the dev zone. There's a particularly self-deprecating bots over in the dev zone. You may have a little chuckle at the things they have to say. Who says we can't laugh at ourselves? But yeah, so the takeaways from this are, if you have a business or a enterprise metaverse, get going, head over to the website, pick your room, pick your agents, and start playing. If you haven't got one, then wander around and then upgrade, or if you're not quite sure, just try them out and you'll see how amazing they are, and then upgrade, because you're going to want to as soon as you had a go with this and you think, I want this in my store. We've listed in the announcement Sam's been making, some of the main places where they're existing, some of the key areas, pretty much all of our own areas. So again, anywhere owned by us, any of those doors off Grand Central, they've all been set up. So that's a good place to start if you're not sure where to go with one in there. And try them out. They're different in most of the rooms, different sets of ages, different personalities, in all the exclusive places. And on the discovery menu, on that featured list, Dora has been setting up the featured list to make sure that all places with agents are featured. So check it out. Get those paperclips. Paperclips can be found either in loot boxes or purchased from paperclip vending machines, which are appearing all over the place. So head over to a vending machine, check out which type it is, jetpack or key or paperclip, stock up, and then start playing.
Exactly. So again, just to mention, we are aware that the cost of paperclips is relatively high. We have dropped them for the launch week to make them really accessible. The price is probably going to go back up at some point soon as we work out exactly what the costs are to us from the point of view of the LLM generation and text-to-speech generation, which is expensive, sadly. We expect those things to go down in price. So traditionally, over the last 2 years, every year, the cost of text generated by LLM has gone down tenfold. So we are hoping and expecting and praying that we will see that continue to decrease at that level in the coming years. And if it does, then we will very soon be able to allow this at a cheap level, at a better price point, and with more use by everybody. Another thing to be aware of is that I am actively, and this is now where we're getting into the realm of I'm talking pie in the sky, not making any promises, but giving you an idea of the sort of R&D work we're doing that could potentially lead to work and stuff that gets delivered, but no promises. The sort of stuff that we're hoping to be able to do is allow for pro users to eventually get access to some form of limited AI. For example, 1 generation per room that it will not generate each time, but just recycle. So there is some information about the room, and you can have that. Potentially allowing businesses and enterprise metaverses to have a stand outside in Infiniverse on their storefront that you can press and get information about the storefront before you commit to going into the storefront. So a great way to explore the contents and the information rather than just the banners on the images.
I forgot to prepare my not a promise, just an idea, not a promise, just an idea screen. Not a promise, just an idea.
Yeah. The other thing is we would like to find a way to do two-way conversations. So at the moment, they can only talk to you, which is why we have the fun, cool scripts set up. But ultimately, it would be great to be able to speak directly to them. It isn't as simple as you'd think. So there are multiple layers to what goes on, and it's a little bit more complex than even what OpenAI do from the point of view of their chatbot. We've got multiple agents, and each agent has its own personality. We've got the requirement to generate speech from it from a different provider, and because the OpenAI didn't provide enough options, and the cost was too high. And then also we do this thing where we pre-generate the script and the text-to-speech to cut down on the lag to ensure it's there instantly when you spawn it. Now, all of those things mean that it's a little bit more complex than we would like. We are exploring ways to bring it down in time and latency and allow a two-way conversation between yourself and the agents. Again, how we do that, exactly who is in control, who's speaking, who takes precedence, all of those sorts of things we need to work on. So I will not promise any of these things I've just mentioned anytime soon.
I mean, anyone who thinks it's simple does not understand the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, none of it's simple.
No.
Even for programmers, none of it's simple. You know, this is really, you know, we said it before when we first announced these clips last year. This is really at the forefront of what's happening right now. It is using brand new tech that, you know, everyone's running to keep up with everyone else and trying to break the boundaries and push the boundaries and see what's there with what's going on. So it's complex stuff. It's prone to breakage.
Yes.
It's prone to slip up.
And AI is fluffy. It's really, really clever, but fluffy. It doesn't always give you what you ask for. It gives you a variation of it 1 out of 7 times or something like that. So the last thing we are 100% aware of, and we are going to be exploring, is different voices. At the moment, the voices are very limited and a little bit dull and very business-like. So I would say that they're probably the least sexy part of what we do from that point of view. They're not very enticing or exciting. And I've, for example, created a whole bunch of cartoon characters.
Can we have a Barry White-esque? Well, hello there, Multiverses. Yeah, baby.
Exactly. Wait, there we go. But
I'm not recording more than that.
But the ability to be able to get unique voices in, for example, I'm trying to put AI agents into Cartoon or Tooniverse and relaunch Tooniverse with AI agents in. Now, the problem with that is that the AI agents could appear, but then they're going to be quite sort of stale old men and women talking in a very sort of professional manner to kids in Tooniverse. It doesn't quite work.
It's a little bit creepy, a little bit grooming.
And a little bit. Yes. Old man with moustache type creepy. But yes, we need to obviously fix those things. But again, the key issue at the moment is the cost. And just to put that into perspective, the providers that provide options for text-to-speech that are customized go up to 8 to 10 times more expensive than the option that we have, which is Google.
Is it
so
wrong
at the moment,
to want to add an agent that's got a female voice but is actually a male groomer and just see what he says? Is that wrong?
yes, that is very wrong.
I'm just curious to know what it would say.
Don't. But yeah, the AI agents are going to be absolutely awesome with time, and they're going to be empowered more and more with more and more technology as we go, more and more options, more and more customization. We also have obviously tried, as Wendy and you guys have probably seen, some of these AI agents that are 3D models rather than the bots, actual avatars from the Lootbox avatar set. We are probably going to retract those temporarily because they're not working as intended, and we're finding it a little bit difficult to fix. So lighting issues make them very dark under certain circumstances, and they don't quite work.
Yeah, by day they're
Please
good,
be
but
aware.
night they're a little,
Yeah,
a little
Jekyll and
dark.
Hyde. So yeah, please expect those to be reverted to robots at some point soon. And with that, we will work on those again in the future. I think I've got a list. I'm just going to run through, make sure we talk about everything on my list. Oh yeah, the range of use cases. So you've seen agents that are serious and just sellers. You've seen agents that are fun and cute. You've seen agents that can do comedy. You've seen agents that can do facts and knowledge and information and other things. Now, these agents don't necessarily have to be the same. So, for example, Haley, your friendly AI agent, with the right topic, could make a joke. It probably won't come across as well because the personality won't match the topic, but it is possible to let Haley make a joke. However, we're trying with the comedian set in the AI Comedy Gold storefronts, which we've taken over from the joke comedy storefronts. Those are now out there. You can go in and experience them. Sometimes they are geniusly funny. For the most part, they're working on it. But again, we hope to be able to fine tune and tweak those things to be able to make them more funny, better with time. And that is really a nuanced thing of backwards and forwards and testing.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a kind of summarize, to bring the focus out a little bit here, as users of Multiverse now, you have an incredibly powerful set of tools available to you. You can make places that are private. You can set up storefronts where you can link to websites to buy real world goods. You can set up agents to have a 24-hour information presence in those rooms for anyone arriving any time of day. You can, I mean, not to mention the events and just the general customization options with the bespoke layouts being rolled out more widely. I mean, if you take all these things together and the simplicity of it too, we've always maintained right from the start, you do not need to be a programmer or a coder to do this. Yeah, I know we're talking about these, like, you know, the prompts and the line topics, and it can sound a bit confusing, but at the end of the day, it's a single web page where you drag and drop your pictures, you type in some information, and you have got this customized, personalized, unique virtual space with artificial intelligence powered bots in
that
it.
Is
I mean,
cooperative.
What the actual fuck?
VR. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not everybody's favorite app developers in the world, but I think we do actually fucking deliver every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been saying for ages, oh, you know, I want something, information in my stores, I want information stuff. Done it. Want toys? Done it. Want avatars? Done it. Delivering. Yeah.
Delivering, and I do want to actually congratulate the team, because it's been a lot of hard work, and it is fucking awesome what we've achieved and done. And I whether you guys like it or not, I'm absolutely blown away.
I think it's amazing, but it's yours. It's your guy. It's yours to play with, to run with, to use this to make. Oh, I was gonna say, no. Let's make Multiverse great again. Am I allowed to say that? Is that too political?
Great again, because it's always been great.
It's always been great, but it's even greater. It's greater cinema, awesomer, awesomest. It's powerful. It's awesome. It's there. It's for you to use.
And actually, I know we obviously I have to mention it, but there is no other way that you can have a presence that is global, manned 24/7, with information and customized at the cost price that we provide. That is not achievable anywhere on the web or anywhere else. So from that point of view, I think Multiverse really does nail it. And this new AI agent, which is just the beginning, is absolutely flipping amazing. I mean, I did some calculations. If you ran a petrol station in California and you had to have it manned 24/7 with one employee, the total cost in a year would be about $250,000. Now, you think about that from a point of view of what you've got in your shop, which costs $100 a month for business. That is going to be something that is available globally, not just in one location, globally, manned 24/7 by a person that is never drunk, never obnoxious, unless you tell it to be, never not present, never sick, never on holiday, and all of that at this price, I think actually ticks some pretty amazing boxes. So, and again, just the beginning.
Yeah. And don't forget, once you've got it set up, do draw a line, get it featured, get your place on that discovery menu to get that footfall in and draw people through to your location. Because we want to advertise this, we want to get people there for you. We want to help you out and
yes.
Make sure that your work is seen and appreciated by everybody. Looking at the clock, we actually had a whole other topic that we wanted to discuss today, but we've gone on for so long about this, and I unfortunately have to go. We have scheduling issues, so I think we'll say that for next week. Do you want a quick teaser of what we've got coming up there for this?
Is just give you some acknowledgement of what's coming. We are going to be talking next week about PC version of Multiverse, which is very damn close. But I want to make sure that we preface it with, this is not the same version that you guys are on Quest. So there are going to be cutbacks. There are going to be things that are enabled and unavailable. It's going to use the same basic metaverse setup. And it's very powerful, and it will be very, very damn cool. Basically, from the MetaQuest store, where you download your MetaQuest VR version of Multiverse, you will be able to download a version, launch it without a connection to a headset, and still run it on a normal PC in 2D or flat screen mode, or whatever it is.
Amazing stuff. So we'll be talking about this in much more detail next week, giving you all the ins and outs of what we envisage, what we hope, where we're up to, and what you guys can expect for that, as well as all the latest from the agents and the AI world, which is moving so fast. For all we know, next week they'll have taken over, and it won't be us, it will be bots talking to you. On that note, wrapping it up, Happy New Year. Didn't even say that. Is it too late? End of January? Happy New Year. Back with a bang. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye, guys.
The Offcast, plugging you into the future, where verse meets meta, where meta meets verse, where gamers meet devs, where devs meet games. Your direct access to the future right here, right now. Where verse meets meta, where meta meets verse, where gamers meet devs, where devs meet games. Your direct access to the future right here.